The final project for our educational law class was to create a presentation of our final paper. My final paper is on Internet and computer use policy. When looking for cases to brief on this topic, I intentionally tried to stay away from cases involving Facebook and Twitter, as other people are going to cover the social media aspect of education. In staying away from the social media cases, I stumbled upon some important cases that can help guide us in developing acceptable computer use policy for our schools. So I went in that direction. I thought it best to work chronologically, as a few of the cases are based on earlier cases that I briefed, one of which does not even involve computers, but the ruling had an impact on future decisions regarding computer usage in schools. First, I'll summarize each of the 5 cases, then provide my administrative policies based on each case. Finally, we'll go through some of the practical considerations based on each of the 5 cases. This first case goes all the way back to 1973, before computer and internet use was even thought about in schools. Miller, an owner of an adult mail order business, was sending out brochures to advertise his products. In advertising these products, the brochures featured graphic sexual images that a California restaurant owner and his mother did not appreciate receiving. And if they didn't appreciate the first one, you can imagine how they felt about receiving the 5th one. Miller was arrested for violating a California statute regarding obscene material. He filed suit claiming a First Amendment violation. The judge ruled in favor of California, and Miller filed appeal after appeal, losing each one. The United States Supreme Court held that the sale and distribution of obscene material is not protected under the First Amendment, and they even developed a 3-pronged test to decide if material is obscene. This is also known as the Miller test. First, whether the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work, taken as a whole, appeals to the prurient interest. Second, whether the work depicts or describes in an offensive way sexual conduct or excretory functions as specifically defined by applicable state law. And thirdly, whether the work, taken as a whole, lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. Those are your 3 prongs. This case leads us all the way to 2003 with another United States Supreme Court case of the United States versus the American Library Association. With the internet in the vast majority of public schools and libraries, Congress enacted the Children's Internet Protection Act, or CIPA, C-I-P-A, in the early 2000s. Under this act, in order to receive federal funds to assist in providing internet access to schools and libraries, the organization had to agree to filter the usage of internet in their buildings. The filtering was to protect minors from viewing material judged obscene. A group made up of libraries, patrons of those libraries, and website publishers, known as the American Library Association, filed suit that the web filter tended to overblock the internet, thus inhibiting free speech. Initially, CIPA was ruled unconstitutional as a First Amendment violation. The United States appealed, and the United States Supreme Court decided that filtering the internet to protect minors from obscene material is not a violation of the First Amendment, and CIPA is ruled as constitutional. Now, with CIPA in place, schools must filter their internet access to prevent obscenity, but in Zellner versus Herrick, a teacher is the one caught breaking the acceptable computer use policy. Zellner, a tenured teacher and former union president, is fired from his job for violating the acceptable computer use policy. He filed suit against Herrick, the superintendent, claiming that the real reason he was fired was due to comments made when he was the union president, and the firing is actually a violation of his First Amendment rights. In August of 2005, the acceptable computer use policy was updated, which Zellner signed off on, indicating that he was aware that non-compliance could result in a loss of access and disciplinary action.
Created using Powtoon.